WICR.
Hello and welcome to the Iona Athletics Spotlight interview. I'm your host, Ian Sachs. Today my guest is none other than Senior Associate Athletics Director Matt Glovaski. Matt, thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Now, Matt, you've worked your way up in the athletics department, and as of now, you are the third highest ranking official, and you're in charge of the advancement and external affairs. Just tell me a little bit about what goes into that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a Senior Associate Athletic Director for Advancement External Affairs. In that capacity, I basically oversee all the external affairs for the athletic department, and most specifically really the fundraising efforts. So really the Go Club, which is the fundraising arm of the athletic department, which goes to support all of our 21 varsity teams and all of our 350 plus student athletes. We go out and we work with our alumni. We work with all of our individual teams to really go out and create the funds that will go to support all the initiatives that our teams need to use to really be successful on a year-to-year basis. So it's a great role. I really enjoy it, and most importantly, I'm really just a function of really providing some support to our great student athletes and our teams.
And now, tell us a little bit about what goes into, say, the day-to-day operations of running the Gold Club and your job as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. Every day is different. One of the best parts of my job is when I get to go out and meet with alumni or people who are specifically interested in donating to our teams. So on any given day, I might be meeting with an alum on campus or off, probably meeting in some capacity with one of our coaches to kind of talk about a specific fundraising initiative. I also work very closely with our advancement department, so there's a good chance I'm over there working in a meeting or working on some initiative with the advancement department as well. We do a monthly newsletter, and a lot goes into the newsletter in terms of writing the stories and really kind of talking about the important initiatives that we're kind of currently running to support one of our different teams. So that's certainly a big part. But it's really kind of a lot of build up to different events. Our next big event is the Hall of Fame golf outing on Monday, June 1st, and that's a year's work in the making, and we're within the 2-month kind of mark of that, and so it's really all a lot of build up to really kind of create a great outing. Most importantly, we want to make sure that we celebrate the success of our 3 inductees, and just put on a great day for all the people that participate, and just and a great day for Iona College athletics. So I think the best thing about my job is that it really kind of changes from day to day. I get to work with not only our student athletes and our coaches, but also just all of the great alumni that have come before us and really want to kind of pay it forward and really kind of continue to contribute to all of our different athletic programs. So it's a great role. I get a great deal of satisfaction from being able to help support the great athletic department that we have here.
Matt, how many alumni would you say are involved and give back?
Sure, that's a great question. I think last year was really a record-breaking year for us in the Gold Club. We achieved some historic numbers in terms of the money that we raised and the number of people that participated. And ultimately, that's really the most important thing that we're looking for, is really the number of contributors that we have, and that's the number that we really want to continue to grow, because ultimately that's going to drive that fundraising number that we achieve at the end of the year and ultimately support all those things that I was just talking about. But I'd say probably we have anywhere from 700 to 1,000 kind of contributing alumni and different people of whether they are parents or friends of programs, but certainly from an alumni standpoint, we have a tremendous number of people that continue to contribute year after year because they appreciate the experience they had here at Iona, and I think that's what speaks so highly of Iona, is that we just provide a great student athlete experience, and that's why it's kind of makes my job easy in a lot of ways, because people want to like I said, really want to kind of contribute to something that played an important role in their life.
So, Matt, I know that the Gold Club is very active with the men's basketball team, and you see them at a lot of the Gold Club members at the men's basketball games. But how many Gold Club members, support the other, say, 20 teams that don't get as much recognition as men's basketball?
Absolutely. That's a terrific question, and I'm glad you asked that, Ian, because I think that because men's basketball is in the media so much and is really one of our main ticketed sports, that it's often kind of the misconception that a lot of people just support basketball, when the reality is that so many of our alums really support the other 20 programs, and there's so many great initiatives that our teams are running concurrently with our men's basketball program that probably don't get enough recognition. We did. We're running a really cool initiative right now for our men's and women's swimming program called the 100 by 100 Challenge. And what we tried to do was raise 100 donations of $100 in 100 days. And that all goes to support, the initiatives of the swimming team, whether it be recruiting or team travel or equipment, whatever the needs might be. And that's a great opportunity to really kind of engage and cultivate new relationships with our swimming alumni. So that was one of the cool initiatives. Our water polo program has their alumni day coming up this Saturday. They have a tremendous contingent of really supportive alumni that can continue to come back year after year. So we're expecting about 150 people to come to our alumni event this Saturday. We're really excited about that. But yeah, really all of our 21 teams are really working throughout the year to really do a great job of not only raising money for their individual teams, but really kind of telling all the success stories of our student athletes. We've got so many great stories, so many great student athletes who are doing just terrific work, not only on the field, but in the classroom, in the community, and I think that's what we're most proud of. So I think that, the Gold Club and the money that we raise is a reflection, once again, of all those great students and the great stories in the athletic department.
With the Gold Club, how much is it where you have people that are concerned with basically one team and just say one program, and how many of the members would you say are more broadly the athletics department as a whole? Sure.
I mean, certainly we have specific alumni who want to support their respective teams. So a baseball alumni might want to support the baseball team because that was the experience that they had, and they continue to come back and support that team. Then we have people that donate just to the general Go Club, and that goes to support really all the teams that fall under the umbrella of athletics. So I'd say it's probably split, probably 50-50. We have a number of people that want to support all of athletics, and then the other 50% is really kind of broken up of people that want to support a specific team or cause within the athletics department. But everybody really, when they say that they're a Go Club member, that's really kind of what resonates. It's not necessarily that they're supporting a specific team. It's more so that they want to support Iona and the Gold Club and really all of our athletics. So it's that's a great thing about what we do.
So Matt, you've worked your way up in the athletics department, now being a senior associate athletics director. Just tell me about a little bit about your journey through the athletics department when you came here and your progression up to such a high-ranking position.
Sure. Well, it's it's kind of funny that we talk about this today because tonight at the Loftus dinner I'll actually celebrate my 10-year anniversary at Iona. So it's kind of fitting that I could kind of take a minute and kind of reflect on my experience here. But it's been a tremendous experience for me here at Iona. I couldn't be more thankful for all the people that gave me just a great opportunity and continue to this day. I started I came in to really kind of create a new recreation program, and I started probably about 3 months before the new Heinz Center was really kind of opened its doors. So for the first couple of months we were kind of wearing a hard hat around there, and I was really kind of trying to become the architect of the new recreation program. But I did that for probably about 8 months in my first position as assistant athletic director for recreation intramurals, and I thought that we really kind of established a good foundation. Our Tiffany Troiello, who's our assistant AD today, does a tremendous job, and Mike Callahan, who I know you've had on the show before, did a great job before him. And so I like to feel that I played a small role in the great recreation department that we have today. From there, kind of right place, right time, or just a product of hard work. I was given the opportunity to move up as the associate athletic director for internal affairs. I took over from Mike Berry, who's now at St. John's and had done a tremendous job here. But in that position, I was really in charge of all the internal operations for the athletics department, whether it be, the fiscal responsibilities, overseeing recreation intramurals, strength and conditioning, athletic operations, really kind of all the things, the day-to-day nuances of the athletic department. And so I did that for almost 8 years, and also coached the golf team. I did that for 6 years, and was really kind of a labor of love, one of the things that I really enjoyed during my time here. But certainly my aspiration is to be an athletic director, and our new athletic director, Rick Cole, who's just done a fantastic job since he's been here, and I think he just celebrated his 2-year anniversary, came to me and said, listen, we have an opportunity to create this new position, the senior associate athletic director for advancement and external affairs, and it was kind of the last thing that was missing to me, and kind of the natural progression for me was to kind of move to the external side where I could work more closely with our alums and start to work on more capital projects and really kind of help to build the athletic department. And so it was a product of a lot of hard work. I think it was a product of some great people giving me an opportunity and me really kind of hopefully embracing those opportunities to their fullest. And I'm really proud of what we've accomplished in the athletic department over the last 10 years. I think we've seen tremendous growth, and I've really enjoyed the experience. We have fantastic people that work here at Iona. The student athletes are tremendous. They work so hard day in and day out, are so diligent about their work and making sure that they're representing the institution to the best day in and day out. And I'm just really thankful to have been a part of it for the last 10 years. And it's been a great ride, and continue to look for great things in the future.
Matt, you mentioned how you coached the golf team here for 6 years. What was that like, being both a coach and an athletic administrator?
Yeah, that's a great question. You really have to kind of compartmentalize them at the end of the day. It's because they're two very important roles. Certainly being an athletic administrator is more broad-based, and you play a role that is important to all the different sports, all 21 sports, all the coaches. And then you play a very important role as a head coach, in which you're a mentor, and you really want to ensure that you're positioning your student athletes for success and making sure that you're there for them for the most part. I think that was probably the biggest challenge for me, was really the time management. I probably felt that I was almost doing a disservice at times to my student athletes because I couldn't have been there as much as I wanted to. So, but I really enjoyed that part of it. I had tremendous student athletes. My players have gone on to do some tremendous things. A couple of my current players are still playing on the team right now and are seniors. So it's kind of been nice to see them come full circle and kind of watch them go out as seniors this year. And I'll certainly be rooting for them in the MAC championship next week. But that was a special time for me. I think that I really drew a great appreciation for how hard our coaches work and how much goes into not only recruiting, but preparation, on-course management, all the things that go into running a successful team. And, that's one of the things I'm most proud of, is what we accomplished as a golf program, not only because of, the tournaments we won and where we placed in the MAC championship, but more so because of the players that we graduated and ultimately because of the young men that they've become. I'm so proud of the players that came through my program. I continue to be very close with them and see what they do. Dylan Newman is actually out on the pro tour right now, trying to get his PGA card, and he won recently a pro tournament. And to see those kinds of things, and to see, I'm just so proud of the players that have graduated through our program. And so that was a really special time of 6 years that I'll always look back on with really fond memories. And I'll tell you, I think I learned more in those 6 years between those two positions, as an administrator and as a coach, than maybe all the years combined. It was really a special time for me, and I'm very thankful for him.
Senior Associate Athletics Director Matt Glovaski joining me, Ian Sachs, today on the Iona Athletics Spotlight interview. Now, Matt, you were a coach on the golf course for 6 years, but you've also been a mentor in your role as an athletic administrator. And now you've brought over from Manhattanville, where you teach, just such a busy guy. How has that been like? You've brought over Mike Callahan, Sean Burke, and EJ?
EJ, yep.
EJ, one of the current interns. How has that been like, working both at Manhattanville and then bringing people over to Iona?
Sure. That's one of the favorite things about my job, is it's kind of afforded me the opportunity to teach. And before I really got into college athletics, I was a teacher. That was my undergraduate certification, and what I got my degree in was education in English. So, I've always had a passion for teaching, and it was nice that I've been able to kind of carve out this unique niche over at Manhattanville, where I get to teach one class in the fall, one night a week for 3 hours. But it really allows me the opportunity to connect with some students who are trying to break into the industry and are looking for career advice and ways to kind of build upon their education over at Manhattanville. So it's been a special time for me, and I've been fortunate to meet some great people who showed some ambition and took the initiative to speak to me after class and said, listen, I'm just trying to break into the industry. What advice can you give me? And to me, that's the most important thing in this industry. You have to have ambition. You have to be willing to work hard. You have to be dedicated. And, the people that have come and worked at Iona, whether it was Mike Callahan, who's now at Vassar College doing great things, and Sean Burke, who started as an intern, is now at our assistant athletic director for business operations, or EJ Ferreira, who just started as an intern but has showed such promise. For me, it's just a great opportunity to really kind of provide the opportunity that I was given so long ago. I did an internship at Harvard University before I came here, and somebody gave me an opportunity. Somebody saw something in me, and I'll be forever thankful for that. And it's all what you make of the opportunity. And the least that I can do for all the people that helped me is provide an opportunity to somebody else. So it's great to teach, but I think that I'm more passionate about trying to provide opportunities and hopefully a little bit of guidance on how to get into to the world of college athletics.
And so, Matt, what was the advice or some of the advice that you gave those people?
Yeah, I mean, I think that college athletics has become such a popular field. There's so many people. There's so many more sport management programs around in the country today. So many more schools have created sport management and athletic administration programs that the market has become really saturated with people trying to get in. And so I said that you have to really kind of be perseverant. You have to really kind of show dedication and hard work. Try not to get discouraged and kind of continue to stay the course, because ultimately it's all about getting your foot in the door somewhere. And then, great people are going to do great things, and hard work will pay off. All those kinds of things that you've heard are so true in college athletics. It's just about getting that first opportunity. And so I've told so many people, just, stay the course. Don't get discouraged. Continue to network, continue to meet people, and spread the word about what you're trying to do, whether it's volunteering your time or looking for a paid internship. Whatever it is to get that first opportunity, that's ultimately what's going to pay off in the end. And I've seen so many people who have started off as interns or graduate assistants or, even volunteer interns who have really kind of taken that opportunity and really kind of run with it and made that into, their next position, that first full-time position. And in so many positions, it's all about, kind of paying your dues and really kind of understanding, the foundation, the groundwork of what goes into running a successful department. And, having been an intern myself and really having kind of put all those hours in all those years ago, I'm so appreciative of that experience, because it really kind of taught me so many valuable life lessons about what it takes to be successful. And more importantly, once you get into the role where you can help others, you have appreciation for what they're doing and what it's all about. And I think that's the most important thing. I think that, kind of giving me that perspective about kind of both sides, has really, I think, helped me hopefully become successful in what I do, just because, I think I have an appreciation for how hard it is to work in this industry and how much work goes into it.
So, Matt, you alluded to it earlier that you started out working in the Harvard athletics department. What was that like, working at one of the top elite academic schools, and how is that different from Iona?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think ultimately there's a lot of similarities, and it really comes down to the student athlete, and I think that's what I've found to be consistent at any school that I've worked at. It all comes down to the hard work and the dedication and really the appreciation for being a student athlete. So I think right off the bat, those are the consistencies. Student athletes are student athletes. They love what they do. They work tirelessly in the classroom to ensure that they can have the time off, outside the classroom to really kind of position themselves for success in the field. But, Harvard was a great opportunity for me. At the time, it was the largest Division I athletic department in the country. They had 41 varsity sports. I was one of two interns that really kind of ran all of the athletic operations for the department. So, I got to experience a lot of sports that I hadn't experienced before. I got to really work with some great coaches, some great student athletes, and really worked extremely hard and gained a tremendous amount of respect for how hard it is to work in college athletics. But ultimately, the payoff was tremendous as well, just because I got to, not only work on the day-to-day with some of our great teams, but also got to see kind of, the end result when they got to go to an NCAA tournament or when they won a conference championship. The appreciation that they had for us as administrators, or even though as an intern I was looked at as an administrator there, it was fantastic. And that ultimately gave me so much gratification, and I think that's ultimately what really kind of convinced me that this was my career path, because it was such a special journey. But Harvard's a great place. They have some tremendous administrators. I think the perception is it's an Ivy League school, and so it's all about academics. But in reality, they have so many well-rounded student athletes. They work tirelessly, obviously, to ensure that they're, taking care of what they need to in the classroom from an academic standpoint. But they have to work just as hard, if not harder, to ensure that they're positioned for success in the field. And they have some great sports. They've been successful in so many programs. Hockey, men's basketball, certainly over the last couple of years, has gotten a lot of notoriety. But I really enjoyed my experience there. And like I said, I think that's kind of been the common thread throughout my experience in college athletics, is that, student athletes are alike because they have such a passion and dedication for what they do. And I think that sometimes people don't appreciate how hard it is to be a student athlete and how much goes into, really kind of being excellent day in and day out. And I have a true appreciation for what it means to be a student athlete, and having been a former student athlete myself, I think there's so much that you learn, and ultimately I think it just it really helps you in terms of building who you are and ultimately who you're going to be.
Well, Matt, you've certainly shown a lot of passion for your career, and we've talked a lot about where you've come from and all the different jobs that you've had. But what's in the future for Matt Glovaski?
Sure, that's a good question, definitely. Ultimately I do aspire to be an athletic director. I've been fortunate to work for some great athletic directors over the last couple years, and ultimately they've really positioned me for success and have taught me so many valuable lessons. And my hope is to be in that position so that I can continue to do the same for others. I think that really kind of mentoring administrators and coaches and student athletes is kind of been one of the the points of pride for me in my career, just because so many people have done it for me and I've learned so many great things from other people. So really the hope is to continue to I'd love to continue to teach. I really like that aspect. I love working with coaches and student athletes, and the idea of being an athletic director is certainly that I continue to strive for, and hopefully we'll be able to realize sometime in the future.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. Congratulations on the 10-year anniversary here at Iona. Enjoy the Loftus dinner tonight. And knowing you, I know that an athletic director position is very soon in your future.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that, and thanks so much for having me on. I'd love to come back in the future.
Definitely. For Matt Glovaski, Senior Associate Athletics Director, I'm Ian Sachs, signing off on the Iona Athletics Spotlight interview.
You're listening to WIC.